Again, in my opinion, this problem here, it does require a computer algebra, this is my opinion. I realized when Black Pen, Red Pen did the problem, he certainly used a calculator and he kind of approximate where the maximal number was. But let me go through this with you. I'm going to reset. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm going to define a variable x. Whoops. Keep making mistakes here. And then I'm going to find a function f of x, and that function is going to be e to the minus x squared. Okay, next thing I'll do is I want to define another function, and I'm going to call it g just for the sake of argument. And I'm going to say g of x is actually going to be the derivative, diff of f of x with respect to x, but I want the second derivative. All right, so let's put that down, and I want to display g for you. And what do you get there? You get something that you might say, I don't think it looks like this one over here, and it looks like it's an expanded form of it. Let's not worry about that. What I'm kind of worried about is where does it take on a maximum between 1 and 4? So someone says, how do you do that? Well, there's a variety of ways of doing it. I mean, you could graph it out and approximate, which is what Black Pen, Red Pen did. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to differentiate this and solve for 0. Let me write this down for you. Diff, D-I-F-F. I'm going to differentiate g of x with respect to x, and I want to solve for 0. All right, so let me just put the derivative down first, and then I'll talk about how to solve for 0. All right, I got the derivative, and what I'm going to do is solve, S-O-L-V-E. I'm going to be solving what I just did, the output, with equaling to 0. I don't want to solve for x. See what happens. And I get some numbers over here. I get 0 for 1. That's not an interval, by the way. And I get other numbers, and one number I get is a negative number. That's not an interval. What I want to do, I want to select this answer over here. All right, I want to select it. I copied it. And what I want to do is I want to approximate the number. So let me just do that again, n. And that number is, 1.22, all right? Now, granted, I know the maximal value now. It's where x is that number, all right? So what I got to do, I got to evaluate g at that number, all right? Let me go through that with you. Now, let me put this over here. I need to do g at that number we just computed. I got this number over here. Now, it looks pretty difficult, doesn't it? Now, someone says, what are you going to do with that? I got to solve an equation now, all right? So let me write that down for you. So I'm going to say solve, S-O-L-V-E, and I'm going to put down 0.0005. The double equal sign is indicating an equation. And I'm going to write down 4 minus 1. Oops. I'm going to cube that. I'm going to divide by 12. I'm going to divide by, I'm just going to say x. I know it's n there in the problem, but I'm going to use x, so I don't want to assign another variable. You know what? Let me define another variable. Let's not be too lazy about that. N is a var. Let's go back to solve. S-O-L-V-E. And what do I got here? We're trying to solve an equation, which is 0.30, 1, 2, 3, 5, equals 4 minus 1 cubed. Let me write that down for you. 4 minus 1 cubed. And then I'm going to divide by 12. And then I'm going to divide by n squared. And then I'm going to multiply by the second derivative. And that will be called g, remember? Okay? At what number? That number I just computed, which I know it looks crazy to you, but I just computed that number. And what do I want to solve for? I want to solve for n. Let's see what happens. Now, it gives me some crazy looking things over here. I certainly know n's going to be some, natural number, so negative numbers out of the question. So I want to select this one over here. All right? And I want to approximate that number. Right now, certainly to approximate, remember, underscore dot n. And what do I get? I get 63.374, blah, 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 blah. But again, I get an integer, and the closest integer there, I can't, 63 would be too small, by the way, need to go to 64. But I want to point out, using a computer algebra system, yeah, I'm getting a nice number. Of course, it's an approximate number, but I need to bump it up to get to 64. So the correct answer here is 64. Again, we're using Sage to do those computations, whereas Black Pen, Red Pen used a calculator to graph it and then approximate where the maximal value occurred. Thank you.